Well, first Holmes was born, then he got fat, bald, and tired. Sup, Holmes?
A little bit bigger.
Beware, your host, Jonathan Holmes.
Woof. Sinistar, thank you for starting the show. If you hadn't, I might not have started the show. I was just small talking with Sean Velasco and Woz, and I didn't even care if anyone was listening. I was enjoying it just for me. Hi, Sean Velasco and Woz. How are you?
Good. How are you, Jonathan Holmes?
Medium good. Very good. Now that I'm with you guys, what is that thing behind you?
What? Oh, that's a painting. That was actually given to me by my grandmother, but my sister wanted it first, and she said, "Hey, you said when you died that I could have that." And my grandma said, "Well, that's still true."
So his grandma's still alive.
Right. So when she dies, I guess I have to give it to my sister.
Are you joining us from the Yacht Club headquarters?
Yeah, this is currently the headquarters, but only for like a couple more weeks. But this is we're in my apartment right now. But on May 15th, we're going to be moving into a for realsies. We're an actual business.
Yeah, big kid's office.
Yes.
Awesome. And how many people are at Yacht Club right now?
Well, there's going to be 4 of us in the office. But then we have another one that's not local. So it's going to be there are 3 rooms, and there's one they're both it's like 2 sections, and they're both about 300 square feet, and then this one is subdivided into 2 more. So we're going to have like a main room, and then like a hangout and streaming room, like something similar to this, and then like a heads down quiet time room if you need to just like program some stuff or get some art drawn. We're really excited.
For sleep.
Yeah.
So it's whoa, you were at Way Forward. I don't know if you were too, Woz. I've never asked you.
Yeah, definitely.
You were also at Way Forward.
Yep.
So you guys were there, and now you're embarking on this new thing you're making. You're deciding what your whole work environment's going to be like. You're deciding what atmosphere you're going to be in, what physical space you'll be in. That must be so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane because, I mean, we're used to developing games, and we're used to thinking about the ideas about just a singular game, but not necessarily about an entire company, and, well, how do we want it to be set up, and what do we want our brand to feel like, and how should our desk arrangements be, and
let alone that game is a good product. Like we're going to be advertising for it. Like we're going to like talk to people who make shirts for the game, which is something totally foreign to us.
Right. We're going to do like we want to build a brand, a whole not just a game in and of itself. So yeah, it's bigger and bigger, and it's extremely exciting. We're all just we're really pumped.
Yeah, totally.
I can imagine. Did you, when you left Way Forward, was it because this is what you wanted to do? Was to expand the entire thing in terms of what you do in terms of the game industry, like do every single aspect of it, or tell us in general about the reasons why you might have left Way Forward and what you wanted to do with Yacht Club when you embarked on it at the start.
Well, I mean, basically, we just wanted to make games in our small collaborative team. We have this team that we really love working with. We can't imagine doing games not in this team. So we definitely wanted to do that. We wanted to do original games, and I think we want to take control of the brand and the marketing and just see if that special weirdness that we exude is something that everyone else is excited about.
And is everyone at Yacht Club formerly of Way Forward? Were you working together in Way Forward prior to starting the new company?
Yeah, most of us were. A lot of us are from the Double Dragon Neon team, and so like we all have like immediate experience working together from there.
Right.
And so we just kind of like brought that same energy and flow into this team. So.
And I totally failed. I acted like everyone knew who you guys were, and I'm sure a lot of people do.
Right,
but Sean, you are what at Yacht Club, and Woz, what do you do at Yacht Club?
Okay, I'm Sean, and at the Yacht Club I'm the captain. We don't have real titles because we're not so much into that type of structure. We have a flat structure. If someone says, hey, or if I were to tell someone, hey, you need to do that, then if everyone else disagrees, then it's not going to happen, right? So even though I tend to take on like a designer and director type role, it's very collaborative, and it's a very fair environment, I would say. So yeah, I mean, on Shovel Knight, I'm doing tile sets and art. I'm doing game design. I'm level design, like actually laying it out in the tool, which is super cool and really exciting. and yeah, just kind of everything. We wear so many hats because there's so few of us that we just do a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
You said 4 of you locally and 5 total. Was that right?
yeah. And one guy, he's on Hangout all the time in Chicago.
Right. Yeah. Like this same setup. Like you're on a big TV right now, and we're just like looking at your giant head looming above us. So yeah, we can all just be sitting here in the office, and he's there on the TV. We could just be talking back and forth. So it's still
Yelling at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I'm Woz. I do pixels and everything is not programming and music. And so if you see art, I've usually had my hands in it. But mostly just like the pixel stuff. Erin does a lot of the higher concept stuff and the actual illustrations.
Yeah, Erin, you should roll in here for a minute too.
Oh, she's here.
Yeah, Erin's here, but she's not going to be on the whole time.
Camera shy.
Hi, Erin. How are you?
I'm good.
That's good.
I work on art for the most part. I do concept illustrations. The logo is my design, and I help out with cleanup and animation.
Right.
Yeah.
So like even the pixel models that we make, like even the little dinky enemies and stuff, they always have a concept drawing that's done by Erin first. So I would say that keeps the design like really consistent.
And Erin, what did you work on at Way Forward? People might be familiar with.
Most famously, Mighty Milky Way is my illustrations and handiwork, and then I work on Blood Green Betrayal. I did some character concepts.
Awesome. And you, Woz, what did you work on at Way Forward?
A lot of things, like many things. I mean, I worked on Boy and His Glove, and I also worked on Blood and Betrayal and Double Dragon Neon. I worked on the Thor DS title that they did about a year ago. I did all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I've been there
a lot
for
of those
while.
are Sean games, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I think Thor was a Austin Ivensmith game, but...
Yep. I mean, I was also, I worked on Mighty Milky Way as well, and I was credited as the T-Rex Wrangler. I animated the T-Rex boss and all of his weird mannerisms.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm standing there. It's like no, like
Yeah. It was really fun to have like my computer set up, and I'm looking at him, and he's doing. This is like the first week that I've actually like, really met him and stuff.
Right.
And he's like more like I don't know, and then a tongue just like come on. Yeah.
So how many years have you all been working together?
I mean, I guess. I started Way Forward at like 5 years ago, and we started working together not long after that.
Right. I mean, I'd been there for 6 years, but I mean, we weren't always all working on the same team.
Right.
We just kind of congealed right near the end, which is when we decided to split off.
And you must have really trusted each other to start this company together. When did you first start to know that it's like marriage, really? You guys got married and you're getting your own place.
We are committed at this point.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah.
Was there like an engagement period first where you're like, maybe we'll do this, and then you took the plunge, or did you just go for it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's something that we talked about for a while, and we kind of were working on some side stuff and just thinking about, maybe it would be cool if we branched this into its own company. Maybe we could do like our own big thing. And so I think it was a very natural step for us. But it's still extremely scary, and it still is. I mean, even after the success of our Kickstarter and all that, still getting the game done in the right amount of time and making sure nothing goes like catastrophically wrong is still, there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff to juggle.
Absolutely, and it's all on you now. You can't say, well, I didn't do my 9 to 5 right. It's like,
right.
This is your life now. You guys are talking to me on a Sunday, for cripe's sake. You're working 24/7, it looks like. But we should talk about Shovel Knight and the Kickstarter. It was mind-blowing. I was incredibly excited for you that it did so well. But it exceeded even... I thought it was going to do good, but it did really good. You guys really nailed it.
That was crazy.
How was that experience for you to first starting the Kickstarter, coming up with all of the stuff for it, and then kind of walk me through the experience of getting to the very end? How did it go?
I mean, it was totally crazy. That the 30 days of that Kickstarter, it's like the 30 craziest days of your life, because and we'd heard that before. We'd heard that it was going really well, then you're just trying to manage everything, so you're going crazy.
I didn't believe it until like we were actually in it, and then I was like, oh my god, this month feels like 7 months. It felt so long.
And when it was finally done, we were going through like withdrawals, like oh, we can't refresh the page every 5 seconds. Like, right.
Like, where's the kick track for our life?
Were there any particular? Were there things that suddenly caused you to get a lot more funding? Do you remember any like huge bumps in the process that taught you a thing or two about doing this sort of thing?
Well, I mean, definitely going to PAX was a huge success overall. I mean, tons of media people, tons of just fans coming and checking the game out, and also like a lot of other developers that we got to just meet and shake hands with, and we are doing a couple of cross promotions, helping each other out. So the buzz that built steadily after PAX, it wasn't necessarily one big story or anything like that, but it just kept on rolling, and we kept growing.
Yeah, but I mean, after that, it was pretty cool. PAX was great as the sort of the foundation builder for what we were doing. But after that, we did a Reddit AMA, and that was really cool. We got to answer questions one-on-one with people. And I think that's still there. It's like archived, I guess. But
right, that's a Reddit like Ask Me Anything. I didn't know. I'd never been to Reddit. Before we did a Reddit AMA.
We never done Reddit. We never done Twitter or Facebook. Really.
Yeah, or the YouTube.
Yeah,
channels.
YouTube is like sort of still kind of foreign to us.
Yeah.
But like when we, having PAX as a foundation, we took the demo that we made for PAX and we gave it out to some streamers on Twitch.
That
and
was huge.
Some YouTube personalities, like Game Grumps did a video, and so did Super Best Friends. Those 2 videos are hilarious. We watch them actually pretty commonly.
Yeah,
but
we got a really big bump from those. Just any time that it was mentioned, Dtoid, the Dtoid.
Yeah, you guys are constantly mentioning it.
It was really great.
I love the line that was
we were in on it.
Yeah,
like, what, you're getting paid off by those rich guys at Yacht Club? I'm like, I don't think they have any money yet. But yeah, many people on staff. I think I was probably the first one to write about it.
Yes.
Because Sean gave me the inside scoop secretly after last Sup Holmes he was on. But a lot of people at Dtoid it really resonated with them. And it resonated, it seems like, with the guys at Game Grumps as well, and with the 2 best friends. What do you make of that? What do you think it is about Shovel Knight that seems to click with people in this way?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. We've seen a lot of posts that say something like, I'm sick of these 8-bit like cashing in on nostalgia games, and it's like, oh, and I'm sick of this, like these indie devs doing Kickstarters. It's like, but you know what? This one looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's been really weird. I don't really necessarily know what it is, but I think it's because we genuinely are taking care of what the actual genre is and treating it with more respect than just like making it a parody game. Like, I think parody games are fun and they're fine, and I think they have their place, but like we're treating it as if this is a real thing that you could have played when you were 9, and with it coming at it that perspective, you're not like, we're not trying to just cash in on the humor that's already been done. We're not saying, at no point does anybody say like, it's dangerous to go alone. Yeah, exactly. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Like we've been trying to be very authentic with it, and we're trying to just drive that tone home 100%. And I think that's the part that's resonating with people. There is no like it's just pure sincerity, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's like with Boy and His Blob. That's what we kept saying. It's like it's sincere, it's friendship, it's heartwarming, and like nothing that deviates from that path can go into that game. And so I think with Shovel Knight, we're doing that same thing. It's like it's an 8-bit love letter, but it's not. I hope that it's not capitalizing on the past. It's just fitting right in with everything else. And so the same way that you had the Mega Man 8 Robot Masters, and they had Robot Master design contests. It's like now we have an art contest going on. We have a lot of characters that you can get into and get excited about, and so hopefully, children that have grown up and become man children like all of us, or people that are just becoming that age. Like hopefully kids can be getting into this type of game too, and not thinking that it's something that's like, oh, this is just so retro and weird looking. I hope that you could just look at this and accept it and say this is a style and this is something that's really cool, no matter where technology is in the future.
And you did go a little beyond what the NES could do. At least it looks like you did in terms of the fluidity of the animation and the amount of stuff going on screen.
It's a widescreen. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're just like, we're not beholden to the hardware of the past. and we're trying to just like look back on that era, sort of like rose-tinted glasses kind of feel. Like, you don't want to be stuck with flickering sprites or a hard count on the amount of colors on each sprite or the amount of sprites on screen. So like we're not worried about that as much.
Right. I mean, we're adding more sound channels to the NES sound set. We have a whole ton of parallax layers going on in the background. It's just a lot more. It's a lot more visual fidelity, even though we're doing our best to stick to the palette and not add too many colors, to stay with the same types of like rendering styles that you would see on the NES, and to be in the same style but not with those same limitations. So
that is the recipe for getting around this kind of resentment that some people seem to have for feeling like they're being pandered to, or their nostalgia is being their nostalgia buttons being pushed to manipulate them into just like automatically buying a game. You've gotten around that by showing people that you're not just pushing the nostalgia button; it's sincerity.
Yeah, I mean, like we're feeling all around the button first.
But there have been some people, speaking of detractors, I've noticed some people very, I don't know if jealous is the right word, but there seem to be some underlying spite. I don't know if you've picked up on it. Some other developers who've been on Kickstarter doing sprite-based graphics, kind of low-res, lo-fi graphics, have seen how well Shovel Knight has done, while their games have either not done as well or didn't even pass Kickstarter at all. You guys also got on Steam Greenlight, or it's just on Steam like almost right away. Yeah. So Shovel Knight it's gotten a lot of press, it's gotten a lot of attention, it's got the Let's Plays, it's got a lot going up for it, and it also made a lot of money, and I've seen a lot of developers seem to kind of question why that is. I have an explanation, but I wanted to know if you guys, if you expected, knowing how well other Kickstarters of games with a similar style did, if you expected yours to do as well as those other Kickstarters did, and if you were surprised that yours did so well, and why you think yours might have done better than those other games.
Right. Well, we were totally surprised. Like, I just want to say, we looked at Cryamore because that was like the hot Kickstarter before we launched, and we're like, and it's like, look, you guys, we're just not doing something that's as appealing as Cryamore. Like, that we can't compare ourselves to them, and we can't compare the amount of money we get to them. Let's just do the best that we can with what we have. Like, we were bracing ourselves to not do anywhere near what Cryamore did.
Yeah. While those expectations were like maybe Delver's drop level of like success. And,
right, like half of what we got. We were hoping that in our wildest dreams we get like half of what we ended up getting. So we didn't go into this thinking that it was going to be this big thing that it ended up being, for sure. And I would say after the Kickstarter kind of closed out, there have been other devs that have approached us and that have said, hey, we're going to be doing a Kickstarter soon. Do you guys have any hints and tips? And what would you do to make our Kickstarter more successful? And I mean, first off, I'm not sure if we're qualified to talk about that, but
we're giving them answers every time.
Right? Yeah, we've done what we could, really, for everybody, whether you're a game developer or a aspiring game developer that would like to know some more about what it's like to make games, or these Kickstarter people that are trying to do better Kickstarters. Like, we're just trying to get as much information out there as possible. As far as why was the Shovel Knight Kickstarter so successful?
I think it's an issue of just timing. I mean, we had just the way that we had things set up. We had PAX as our base to get our media attention out there, and then from there we just kind of built on that. So we contacted, just like out of the blue, we contacted a bunch of YouTube people. We contacted a bunch of
reached out to
people. I mean, we emailed people. Like we sent 1,000 or so emails. It was just a ridiculous amount of just like contact, person to person contact.
We weren't spamming people. What we were doing is trying to get direct lines to people who were excited about the types of things that we were making. So if we knew that there was a site that was all about NES-style games or 8-bit games or platformers or action or Mega Man or nostalgia or any of these notes that we're hitting, we would reach out to them and say, hey, would you be excited about this type of thing? And we had a lot of really positive reactions from that. But I think it's just getting yourself out there is a huge part of it. As big of an effort as the game itself. You just really have to get it out there. I mean, it's marketing,
Yeah, and you were working on first time at it, and you guys nailed it.
Yeah, we were working on it all full time. It was like all 5 of us, 100% were on Kickstarter. Like it wasn't like maybe we're answering emails some of the day. We're also working on the game. It was like 100% Kickstarter. So like it was all of our life at that point.
Yeah, it was a full-time thing for a lot of people to actually just run that Kickstarter. And it may have looked like it was smooth, but it was like behind the scenes. It was just like hair on fire.
Yeah,
like we don't know what we're doing. Oh my God, you guys! We're gonna hit these stretch goals at this time. We have to make that graphic, or we have to figure out what the heck we're gonna do.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. After what was it? After battle
After
mode,
200.
After 200, we had nothing. So
I have no idea.
like that, our little GIF only went down to that height, right?
Yeah.
And we had to extend it like 100 pixels.
Yeah, I had to like add stuff into Photoshop and go back into True Motion and like move stuff around. Like it was, we were not prepared.
It was a great.
I was expecting you to go past the box of treasure that you came up with at the end potentially, and then you'd have to go like find some bones or something underneath there.
Or some another creature.
I get the sense that you said a lot of it was timing. I think that that's definitely true, but it also has to do with the timing of what people are hungry for right now and what Shovel Knight seems to be giving them that they're not getting elsewhere. What do you think that might be? I have my theories, of course, and I don't want to share them because
we don't make games that we're not excited to play. Mm-hmm. And you know, we came up with the idea of Shovel Knight very recently. Like we started development on it, and like and conceptually figured out what Shovel Knight is in like December and January. So like it's very fresh in our minds, and so maybe it's just a byproduct of us like being gamers and being involved with that community and like actually like caring what we want to see and play.
Like on the weekend, we don't play whatever is out. We play like Zelda 2. Like it's like, all right, well, like let's go through a Mega Man. Like actually right now, I feel like I should plug Mega Man.
You should.
Yeah, we're doing Mega Man, which is during the month of May. We play a whole ton of Mega Man games, and we try to get through like as many of them as we can. And so this has been a tradition that's been going for a really long time. But now we're finally, televising it for the first time. So we're going to have Twitch TV streams where on Wednesdays for this whole month we're just going to be playing Mega Man. And we did 1, 2, 3, and then Mega Man and Bass, which is like this ridiculously.
That was so hard.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
You don't get E-tanks in that game.
So
it's rough.
We're gonna be playing through Mega Man every week and just like having a good time. But I think that's the core of it, right? Like we live this stuff and we love this stuff, and so as people, I think our age, like I was saying before, I think that like this age group is starting to get to the point where now it's like you're hungry for something like that, and it's like it's still legitimate. Like it's just because they stopped making those games at that time, like in the late 80s, early 90s, it doesn't mean that those games still aren't valid or fun today. Just because all of these technological advancements, like the fun still comes through regardless of what the game looks like. So I don't know. I think that's part of it. It's like we're trying to deliver on gameplay, and that's the most important thing. And the character and the humor and the fun and just like making something that's like fun, not only to play but like tone wise also. So I don't know. It's just like a big.
When I first saw King Knight, I knew you guys were fun and funny, but his strut. His attacks and how they so nicely, succinctly parodied the whole concept of monarchy and of being superior to someone else just with a crown on your head. You nailed it right away, and I got the feeling of it immediately. So yeah, and you don't see as much of that in games today, or at least in smaller games. I think people focus on the mechanic, and they focus on trying to express maybe an autobiographical idea or kind of a high concept kind of a. But you guys aren't getting into that whole social class that indie games often get into, where it's kind of, this is the high art of video games. You're just trying to hit as many people as possible with.
Yeah, we're just trying to make a toy, basically. That's something
like,
that's
a brand, like something that it's just like I just keep coming back to play, like the fun of playing that game and the fun of getting excited about those characters and just everything. It's like just like nostalgia and warmth and mechanics all like rolled into one. And like we keep saying, we don't know what the difference is. Like a lot, because indies, you're right, they're like very autobiographical, and they're very and a lot of the games are like very serious. Like we're trying to make a point with this game, and I guess like the only point that I want to make with Shovel Knight is that these types of games are still valid as entertainment, and that they could still sell 500 million copies even today.
I hope so. Yeah. Something more like 5 million? But either way, why not? Why not all the millions? All the millions there is. And also, Capcom, this is the year of Mega Man. This is Mega Man's birthday. No Mega Man game announcement. I felt like Shovel Knight kind of, whether you meant to or not, I kind of doubt you did, but you swooped right in when everyone's like, oh, no new Mega Man game, no new Mega Man game, and you're like, 8 selectable bosses, in whatever order you want, guys. And I don't think it was a conscious thing, but people felt like these guys are delivering what the bigger companies that have changed so much over the years, Konami, Capcom, Square Enix, they're clearly not who they were 20 years ago. Yeah. But you guys understand who they were 20 years ago and are giving that kind of thing to them, which I think really meant a lot. But still, a lot of other indie developers are trying to do that, but they didn't quite do it in the way that you did, and they didn't meet that kind of success. We have to figure out why that is later. Yeah, because we've talked about it a lot, and we just keep saying it's because Shovel Knight's good. It is, but I think there's definitely more to it. I wanted to ask you guys, speaking of people our age, and I think we're all around the same age, and how our attitudes have changed and how we look at games. One thing I think Shovel Knight does is it supersedes the whole, it circumvents, the whole idea of maturity in gaming. It's like a very mature game in that it's made for people my age, and yet it's still very kid-friendly, whereas a lot of games today are trying to seem grown up in the way that like late 90s, 2000 era games did by having a lot of nudity or having a lot of violence or having a lot of sociopathy and just terribleness, because that was like breaking a taboo of what games could be at that time, to show like we're grown up now, we can have boobs now, guys. And now if you put butts in your game like in Dragon's Crown, people are like, this is childish, this looks like it's for kids.
Yeah, it's a weird little like flip-flop, right? It's like we're more adult because we're being more for kids.
That's kind of how I see it. Yeah, and but at the same time, you referenced Dark Souls as something like if on your Kickstarter you had only talked about very old games that were completely kid appropriate or maybe kid targeted, I don't know if it would have gone over as well as if you didn't mention Dark Souls, which a lot of people think of. You have to be emotionally mature to cope with the suffering that this game is going to put you through. But I don't know. I've read some interviews about how Dark Souls influenced the game, but maybe we can talk about that now. In what ways did Dark Souls influence Shovel Knight?
I want to say that first off, having a Dark Souls influence, or saying that we have a Dark Souls influence, has shown through even on things like the fan art contest, right?
Oh, yes.
So I think that's what's cool is we're referencing several things that are going from very light to maybe like a little bit more serious, and so Shovel Knight is kind of becoming like many different things to many different people, right? So it's like you can have this interpretation of this dinky little like 3-head tall Shovel Knight like we do in the NES like sprite, right, the little 8-bit version, but then there's like the illustrated art, which is a little bit more mature looking, and then
it's still cartoony.
Yes, and then people just took it all the way, and it just became like
way
very
serious,
like Shovel Knight stepping into Dark Souls. Yeah. And so that's I think maybe that's part of the appeal too, is people feel like those interpretations can be valid. But as far as how the game is inspired or has some notes of Dark Souls in it.
I mean, yeah, we're serious about that. Like, that's not a lot of people call into question. Like, how is it possible that this is Dark Souls? And we're like, no, it really is. Like, we love Dark Souls, and we were playing it as a group together a while back. And what we really liked about it is the way that Dark Souls handles, through death and loss, it establishes what you as a player value in the game. And so, when you have 20,000, and that directly has an impact on the decisions you make.
And how you're playing.
And how you play moment to moment. So when you have 20,000 souls, and you're walking by, that group of 3 guys that like you can handle, Any other time, you're just like, you're nervous as you walk into that room, that murder death room in Undead Bird, because like you know that one time where that guy is gonna fly through the air and just like chop you with his axe. Like that's gonna happen because you have these like way too many souls.
So it's like being like just the idea of being like a little bit careful when you have a lot to lose. I mean, that's also, it's a very Mega Man thing too, right? Except instead of having a whole bunch of stuff that you're going to lose, it's like that's like an always on type of thing, right? It's like you're always afraid that you're going to die. You only have 3 lives. And so we want to do something that's maybe not so crazy Nintendo hard, like dying a million times. Like what we've been saying is maybe it's going to be a little bit more difficult than Mega Man 2 on normal, but a little bit easier than Mega Man 2 on difficult.
Okay, so yeah, that sounds like a sweet spot, especially for people who have played these kinds of games ad nauseum. We need to be challenged a little bit harder than someone who never played Mega Man 2 before.
Yeah, it was cool at PAX. We saw a lot of people were like, "This is really easy. Like this game is too easy," and other people were like, "This is way too hard."
Yeah, people just go through it. Like you could tell when there was like a really great like NES player back in the day because they would go through it without dying. It's just like
he's like, I'm on the speedrun boards for Mega Man 9. Like this is cake. That's like, all right, well, we'll make it harder for you.
Yeah, and you did implement a challenge mode for them in the end, or at least you're planning on it. We haven't talked enough about how Shovel Knight plays. I just keep assuming everyone already knows, but in case they don't, walk us through a little bit of the character, who he is, and what he does that sets him apart from other video game protagonists.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, he's like Mega Man, kind of. No, he has he's a little bit heavier than Mega Man, and as far as like how he moves through the environment, but the level design feels very Mega Man-ish. He has just one attack, or he has 2 attacks. He has his dig slash, and then he has a down thrust. And his mobility is very simple but very pure.
Right. So it's like you only have two real moves, right? A down thrust and just like a regular attack. And so your mobility, it's a little bit Mega Man-ish, meaning that you have air control, but when you land, you can stop on a dime. But when you're walking and then you stop, you slide to a stop. So it's like they're like these specifics. It's like something like Castlevania has a fixed rate jump, right? So you can't control it in the air at all. Mario has like a lot of physics behind his jump. So when he goes, it's very hard to stop, right? And then you have like Ghouls and Ghosts, which has the double jump that lets you adjust your trajectory in midair. Some of these characters accelerate and have like a weird slide physics, and that's like where the fun of that game comes from. With Shovel Knight, we're trying to do something that hits like right in that sweet spot. So yeah, we looked at Mega Man, so it's a little Mega Man-ish. We looked at Zelda 2, which has really really interesting physics, and also the down thrust from Zelda 2 is very much an inspiration for Shovel Knight's down thrust attack. So we kind of just like mixed all of these games together, thought about how we could express ourselves in a unique way, and Shovel Knight was the result. So it's very few moves, and all of the excitement that comes through the game is from everything outside of your personal like play space. So you can down thrust and you can slash, but the different things that you're attacking, that's where the different effects are. That's where the complexity comes from. It's like outside of just your mobility.
Although we do have the addition of the sub-weapons, so those add a little twist. So you bring in the demo we had a wand that shoots a fireball out, and so that's just a twist on what Shovel Knight can do. But generally, what he is all about is interacting with the environment with his base moveset.
Right. So it's like a Castlevania style sub weapon. You could have this fire rod lets you shoot a projectile that goes all the way across the screen. So that's like obviously that really changes how you're going to play the game if that's the sub weapon that you decide that you're going to settle on. We're going to have like a whole lot of different ones, and maybe they could be like little mobility changing, adjusters, or weapons that give you a different type of attack that you wouldn't normally have in your arsenal.
Right. So there's sounds like you know who Shovel Knight is all the time. He's a down thrusting, shoveling, hit you with a shovel guy, but he can have He can wear a slightly different hat at times, but regardless of what hat he's wearing, his environment is going to change how he has to deal with problems all the time. And you've spent a lot of time on designing different types of knights for him to fight, and different enemies and different environments where sometimes you're digging. It looked like a pile of was that crap? Was that gray? What was that crap he was digging? And he'll find a bomb in there, or he'll find money, and you want to collect money in this game.
Yes.
Too. It's
Yeah.
I liked how I got the feeling he appealed to my greed a little bit. Shovel Knight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe like a little Wario-esque. But,
A tiny bit, but he's so you followed the Boba Fett school of design, and everyone who sees Boba Fett thinks that's actually me under that mask. I'm the guy with the cool visor, and he's got that. Everyone who plays the game, from what I've seen, feels immediately like I get who this character is. And on top of that, you're doing gender swap mode.
yeah.
Whose idea was that?
Well, we all want it.
That's an idea that we all love.
Yeah, it's really
more work for me.
Yeah, she's got to concept all these things out.
But it's going to be cool, right? The female versions of all these characters are going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what a female like treasure knight looks
Or
like.
female propeller knight, or like any of that.
Yeah.
And is that down to even the little mice with the propellers? Are they gonna have like
We're
nose?
thinking it's going to be for Shovel Knight and the Enchantress, and then the whole Order of No Quarter, the 8 bosses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those main guys.
So yeah, we'll swap them out. And yeah, we're still not sure about the designs, but that'll be the fun journey of discovery.
Yeah. You mentioned the Boba Fett thing. One of the things that was really hard for us was figuring out a way to make Shovel Knight like not look like a bad guy, because he is a Boba Fett. Like he has the T, and he has horns, and like he has a shovel, and it was like, how are we gonna make?
Are you guys back again?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, that's okay. It happens. I made an awkward sound.
Okay.
I pitched that, and I smiled. That's all you missed. But you were saying to make Shovel Knight not look
Yeah,
like a
right.
bad guy because he's got
Right.
the Boba Fett face. Boba Fett. He's got the horns. He's got the attitude. How did you go about making him seem like a good guy?
Right. I mean, the way that we found it was about his mannerisms very goofy and very
Right.
goony.
The animations, like that,
Yeah.
like that run cycle is like very.
Yeah, he runs like he's like this, right? And like if Boba Fett ran like that, you would think he was a good guy, or you think he's a bro, you know. But like that's the idea, is that we want to make him very goony in his appearance and very like playful, and I think that worked out pretty well. But yeah, Boba Fett's it's a very scary monster to.
And I feel like, well, it's like, but then I almost feel like when something really bad happens, then you can kind of like cast a dark shadow over Shovel Knight, and all of a sudden he's serious.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like we could flip it like whenever we want and use it like to our advantage. It's like even when like I don't know, when Bowser and Mario face off, when Mario gets that angry face and you know it's go time, it's still go time. You know.
Yeah.
So he's got a versatility as an actor then.
Yeah.
As someone you want to be able to evoke different emotions with.
Yeah.
You can have him be goofy, you can have him be badass, you can have him be sad. He looks very sad by that fireplace. Like I really relate with him in those lonely moments. Yeah, these are the things I think other people making games with a limited sprite set or lo-fi graphics, they might have missed out on the power of that iconography and how you can do so many different things with a character if it's well designed from the start, and you put ideas into the animations and are willing to branch out on what you're even trying to do with them. I think too many of them just think, oh, I'll just kind of follow the template without trying to stretch and take risks with what exactly the character's going to do. Which makes me want to know more about what you guys are gonna do with the game. The Kickstarter spoiled me because I was getting news on new characters and new additions, like having the one of the sound designers from Mega Man 1 on there. That blew my mind.
That's right, and composer and sound designer, like the sound effects.
She's the lady.
yeah, Manami Matsume is going to do 2 songs for us for Shovel Knight. And that completely, that just blew our minds. I'm still in shock. Like I can't believe it.
And Jake's also teasing maybe like they do another track that's like sort of like dueling banjos style, where like she writes some over here and then he writes some over here, and then it like
whoa.
breathes and like, it's a crazy
Jake Kaufman is going to be composing most of the soundtrack for Shovel Knight. If you don't know Jake Burt Kaufman, he's completely amazing. So you should go listen to all of his stuff right now.
Yes.
But then in addition to that, Manami's going to be doing these 2 songs, and we could do like a dueling banjo style song. The soundtrack is just going to be so good.
I'm almost more excited for the soundtrack than the game. It's so exciting.
So how, I expected the game to be Mega Man size. That's what was my hope anyway. But then after the Kickstarter did so well, like a selfish jerk, I thought, well, now why don't they make it bigger? Make it like 2 Mega Man sizes because they got all that money now. But have you guys decided how big you want the game to be, and what can we expect in terms of how long it might be?
Okay, I can rattle that off. At least the main parts.
Yeah,
so we want to do like an intro stage, and then we have the Order of No Quarter, who are 8 knights, and then probably a big long stage section at the end that's comprised of like a few levels. So in that sense, I would say it's pretty close to a Mega Man in terms of maybe like 13 main stages, 12 main stages, somewhere around there. But we're going to have like a Super Mario 3 style map, or like almost like actually UN Squadron style.
Yeah.
So it starts out where only a little bit is unlocked, and then as we go, we're unlocking more and more and more. So you have maybe a couple things to play at once instead of just being able to play like one more stage. So things are being unlocked in tiers, and there will be little
that map is going to be dense with little nodes to go to. Maybe you go to a shop, maybe you go to a little special bonus section or whatever.
Yeah, like a mini game. Things that aren't an entire level's worth of gameplay, but maybe like a little section of challenge. Right?
Yeah, and if the player gets through it well, it'll help them in their main campaign.
Right, like in a Zelda, you have all the main dungeons, but then sometimes you can bomb open a wall, and there will be a little 3-room dungeon that you have to go through to get a heart piece. I think that's something that we could definitely have a lot of stuff like that to round that world out, to make it feel like it's a little bit more full and something that's beyond just like the straight up stages of a Mega Man game.
And then on top of that, we have New Game Plus. So you go through the game once, and then you go through it again to experience the new challenge and see what that's all about.
Right.
So it's going to feel robust and feel like a lot of game, I feel like, but also feel like very focused and feel like you could also finish it if you got good enough. You could finish it in one sitting.
Right. Well, and that's another thing. Like being able to have speedrunners play this game, being able to do it, in one sitting, or being able to, exploit the little tiny mechanics of the game to try to eke a few extra seconds out of your run. We have some friends that are really good speedrunners, and so we're going to be consulting with them and making sure that Shovel Knight is a game that speedrunners will be happy going through over and over again.
Yeah,
awesome. It sounded a little bit like Bionic Commando, in which I would just go stop into a new area sometimes and be like, I don't even know what this is, and then immediately leave, do other things, come back to it, and maybe find something. So there's the feeling of unpredictability. Like I'm not just all along the same pacing all along. Little bumps to throw off the structure make me feel like I don't know what I'm going to get next.
There'll be like, as you're going on that map, on the nodes, there'll be like little traveling guides also, like like a merchant, or like Mario 3 style, right? Like
random
like the Black Knight, who's like your somewhat comedic rival that you're going to be fighting multiple times during the course of the game. Like that guy will just pop up and appear. So it might be something like exactly like you're saying, a little bit more randomized and just like filling out that world more.
It's that Black Knight. What does he fight with?
He also has a shovel currently. Like if there's
a different type of shovel.
A different type of shovel. Maybe it's the same shovel.
Yeah, we have to. Honestly, we're not 100% on the story for the Black Knight yet, but it'll be perfectly pitch perfect integrated into there by the time the game is done. It'll be great.
I can only imagine how that is. You've raised all this money, $300,000. Is that right?
Yeah, three. What was it? 15.
Well, it was 3, 10, or 11 on the Kickstarter, and we also raised 17 on PayPal. So
right, an addition to 17.
So closer to like 330.
Yeah. Jeez. So it's a lot. Yes. So a lot of money.
So every day you get up, you've got to. Is there a feeling of fear, like you're about to take a risk that you might not be able to notice in your own creative process, and think, oh no, I've maybe I'll screw up the game by accident and no one will tell me, or is it like every day I get to try to churn out more video game and just live this dream as hard as you can, or a little bit of both? How has that been for you every day since you've completed the Kickstarter?
Well, it's scary, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely scary.
We're constantly checking ourselves and like always reevaluating whether the decisions that we made already are even worth it. You know, we've said if we need to rework a basic form, like if Shovel Knight's jump needs to be like 5 tiles higher, we'll make that happen and then rework the levels to make it
Yeah,
better.
we'll redo the whole thing if we have to. Like we really, really want it to be great. That's what's most important. And I think that we don't need to just check. It's more than just checking ourselves. We have this entire group of Kickstarter backers that's checking that, like they're checking us. So we have these design hangouts where that was one of our Kickstarter rewards. Where now we're going to be inviting people into our design process and kind of having them be a fly on the wall or make some creative contributions. So we're going to be streaming the game as we're developing it. We're going to be bringing people in and talking about the design of it. So I think everyone's going to have a pretty good idea of where Shovel Knight is going, and that's going to keep us very honest with regards to the quality of it and all that. So it's scary, right? We have the hopes of almost 15,000 people riding on this game. So it's a ton of pressure.
That's amazing. Yeah. And it's coming so for people who don't know, it's going to be on Steam. It's going to be available elsewhere on PC, and it's coming to Wii U and 3DS. Is that about right?
Yes, and Mac and Linux as well.
We unlocked Mac and Linux, yeah.
Yes.
And then, I mean, I would just say stay tuned for anything else, because we want Shovel Knight to come to every platform under the sun, but we just don't have anything specific to announce just yet.
That makes sense. And you're 5 people, so good grief.
Yeah, it's going to take...
I can only imagine. Where do you have... and a bunch of questions came in. I'll definitely get to them in a second.
Okay.
But there has been a lot of talk of the Wii U, and you guys are Wii U developers.
Yes.
I did want to ask before we move on, what do you think of the state of the Wii U currently? Are you worried at all that it's not going to be worth it to put it on the console as the install base isn't huge yet, or are you thinking it's going to be fine?
Yeah, I mean, I guess on the last sub Holmes, I was really, really excited about the Wii U because I was playing Animal Crossing and Mario U, Animal Crossing on Nintendo Land, rather.
Yeah, sweet day.
And now I'm on sub Holmes again, and I don't have any more Wii U games. I haven't gotten
that was what, November or December?
I mean,
there's no Way Forward November. That's right.
Yeah, that was during
a good 6 months ago.
Yeah. So,
but we love that game. Like the possibilities. Like this is how I feel. Like the possibilities and the hardware supports a level of like you can change the way you approach design and making the game with the new hardware.
It still has that potential.
It's still super great at potential.
Like maybe, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe later this year we're going to see Nintendo roll out some more first party stuff. I mean, there's been a lot of doom and gloom talking about the Wii, but I feel like as soon as Nintendo gets more first party games out there, it's going to pick up again. We saw the same thing happen with the 3DS, right? Where it was really slow sales, but then they slashed the price. They came out with a bunch of great games, and now like we're in a really good spot. Hopefully, I mean, if I were Nintendo, I would be saying, let's do that exact same thing with the Wii U and try to turn things around a little bit.
It's a weird thing. I feel like it launched and then it kind of unlaunched, and maybe they launched too soon. And a lot of people are waiting to hear what Microsoft is going to do and what the PS4 will actually be like, and then it'll really be the time when people feel like they need to decide. But right now, people feel like they don't need to decide if they're going to buy Wii U or not. They can wait until maybe another game will come out. They've been shown that Nintendo does drop the price of their consoles really quickly if they don't sell well enough. I think people are hopefully holding out for that. So it sounds like you guys still feel like the Wii U is a worthwhile console to develop for.
Yeah, just as developers, it has a lot of potential, and we love the idea of what we could do with that pad. The asynchronous gameplay concept is really exciting, and the implementation that we've seen in Nintendo Land has been really, it has lived up to that expectation of what that program can do.
And there are 4 Wii remotes supported. We know that there are a lot of Wii remotes in houses we're really excited about Shovel Knight's 4-player battle mode, which I remember talking to you about that and thinking, this is never gonna happen. Like we're never gonna get there, and it is just like, man, it would be so cool. But maybe hopefully the first one sells well, and then maybe we'll be able to do some multiplayer or something like that. Now that we're able to
with all the bosses playable, right?
With all the entire order and Shovel Knight and the enchanters, and it's going to be. I mean, we want to make something that's like the same as those N64 games that you would just play incessantly with four-player multiplayer, right? Something that on your Wii U, it's like every Wii U owner, I would hope, it's just like, man, you got to get Shovel Knight. It's only X amount of dollars. It's a great single-player game, and like you're going to play that battle mode just endlessly, right? It's like every time 3 friends come over, you'll just play Shovel Knight battle mode. Like that's what we're hoping for. That's what that is our goal. So if we could do something just even a little bit like that, then maybe when Shovel Knight comes out, then that'll be like the really good time to buy a Wii U. the system seller.
It could be. You never know. Minecraft was a system seller for computers. People are saying, I gotta buy a computer, Mom. Minecraft, all the kids are playing it. Arzanadu asks, do you have any tips on how game journalists can make games in their free time? Yeah, guys, tell us about game journalists. I feel it is important for journalists to create games, less to learn about the game process and more about expressing themselves in different ways. Interesting. Do you guys think game journalists should make more video games? Do you think we would get it more if we did?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think a lot of game journalists are excited about making games, and that's why they became game journalists, right? And we've already seen a lot of game journalists that have moved into game development, like what's his name? I'm going to mangle it. Greg Kasavin, is that right? Who did Bastion. Mm-hmm. He was a GameSpot guy forever. So that. You see a lot of crossover that happens. I think if you were trying to get into game development, I guess it doesn't matter if you were it doesn't matter who you are. If you were in the industry, it wouldn't matter one way or the other.
Just make them. There's a lot of ways to just make games, and there's a lot of tools that are out there. Just making an experience that people can enjoy and play is the most important thing. So, your first game is not going to be your baby. Don't let it be your opus. Is not the first game you make.
Don't try to do too much. Make something that's like Pac-Man, or make something that's like Breakout, or whatever. Something super simple. Or make it on paper. If you don't know how to program, then you can make a game on paper. And if you get the whole thing figured out, I had a teacher in a game design class that got a job at Blizzard by giving a collectible card game that he created based on Diablo. He gave him a binder, and it was the entire game. And he had this guy is an absolutely brilliant game designer, and so he made cards of the entire game, and it all worked perfectly, and they hired him.
Yeah, it was like a Magic the Gathering style kind of game, right?
So it doesn't have to be. If you want to work in games, you don't necessarily have to be a super great programmer when you're just starting out. You can it's something that you can build on.
Unless you want to be a programmer. If you want to just break into games, maybe you should figure out what exactly you want to do. If it's art programming, and if it's just I just want to make games, I want to be a designer or whatever, just start making games. There's so many tools and things to do. Making a board game is it sounds like it's totally unrelated because it's totally analog versus completely digital, but there are so many applicable ideas and rules and sets of knowledge that are shared between the two. So make a board game.
Yeah, for just straight game design.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Joe Still Life asks, will you guys have mod support for Shovel Knight on PC? But you make it so you can mod it, I suppose is what he means.
Probably not. At least not for this release of Shovel Knight. We want to focus on defining what the Shovel Knight experience is before we give those tools out to everybody and would let them make their own thing. And I guess overall, we're just not sure if that's something that we would want to do in general, right? I kind of think we would rather integrate stuff into the game by doing contests. If we did an Order of No Quarter contest for Shovel Knight 2, then we could have people design knights, and then maybe we would choose winners and put them into the game and actually develop them ourselves. I think involving the community in ways like that seems to be
we like the idea of having a pure experience, or just having the absolute definition of what Shovel Knight is, and also being able to control that, but having have, like he was saying, like having the influence of the community during the development of the game. So maybe you're not, instead of modding Shovel Knight 1, maybe you're involved in the community for Shovel Knight 2 or whatever,
right?
And you're like, you're getting your ideas and you're designing bosses or scenarios or whatever. And yeah, we're all working together to make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the people who really want to mod it will not only mod it, but probably make their own Shovel Knight.
You can't stop the ingenuity of everybody.
They'll figure it out. I'm sure. Yeah.
Right, but to make the... I see that with the Metroid series a lot. Nintendo never had to release mod tools to make your own Super Metroid, but there's still like 4 or 5 awesome little Metroid games out there for the people who really wanted to create their own ideas with that world.
Yeah, Zelda and Mario, like there's a lot of that stuff.
We would love to facilitate that too. We plan on having all of our sprite animations probably just available on our website in a form that you can download if you wanted to mess around with them or put them in your own game. We're really all about trying to help the community, and by the community I mean like everyone that might be interested in game development or Shovel Knight or anything, just by giving them everything we have and telling them about everything we do.
I look forward to whatever comes out of that. If somebody makes a Game Maker game that it has like King Knight as the playable main character or whatever, and Griffin is your side buddy cop friend. That sounds like a rad game that people can just make using the art that we have available.
Right. Yeah.
So you are helping people to make their own stuff without encouraging them to right off the bat just tweak what they're already given.
Well, yeah, without having a direct impact on necessarily the definitive Shovel Knight experience.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. Do the Herpaderp asks, what pixel program do you use, if any? Yeah, how do you guys make your art?
Well, typically, Erin will do concepts on paper and also in Photoshop, right? And I will take that into ProMotion, which is made by Cosmigo. If you show up in one of the streams, I'll post a link every now and then. But it's called ProMotion. It's a really cool. It's made specifically for pixel animation.
Right. There's another one that people use a lot called Graphics Gale.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't use Graphics Scale. We use ProMotion. They're all just sort of like arcane, weird programs. And I think they all have their quirks.
Yes.
Like ProMotion doesn't have layer support in any meaningful way.
I mean, it does, but it's you just kind of get by without using it. It's kind of bizarre, but yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. But once you know it, you can work in Pixel extremely fast, and you can set up the grid to click down and make a tile set really quickly, and you can just go.
Mm.
Yeah.
How about what are you coding it in? What language is it coded?
I wish I had Flutter here.
Yeah.
Ian says they program in C++ and OpenGL.
Right. So that makes ports easy. It's not a lot of it's not a lot of anything that's like quite too specific. So it's just straight up C++ and OpenGL, and it lets us put it out on all the platforms without too many problems.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. So it's not too tough to get it on 3DS. You already have it running on 3DS or Wii U?
Not yet.
I'm so curious about that.
Yeah, we're right now we're talking about we were just talking about the aspect ratio and how that's going to work, because the 3DS has a slightly different aspect ratio than like an HD television. But with a game like Shovel Knight, you can't. If you zoom it in and out even a little bit, it's going to become anti-aliased, and the whole thing is ruined.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out one screen size that can work across all platforms. And so we were just butting heads over that just the other day. So we're gonna have to figure that out, and then we want to get it there up and running as soon as possible, though.
Exciting. Yeah. It's the little things people don't realize exist.
Oh yeah.
Thinking about when you take those little sprites and you zoom them in a little bit. Why does that happen? They're just like smushed Fig Newtons after that, with crap coming out of the sides. Still trying to figure out computers.
It's annoying.
Yeah, no kidding. Noise Tank 41 asks, "What is your favorite boss knight or enemy in the game?" We can do all three of you's answers for that.
Oh man, I don't know. I like Treasure Knight a lot. I mean, I personally just love the idea of him with I've done some poses with him where he's shooting the anchor across the screen, and I just get so pumped just seeing that.
He's a badass.
He's pretty cool.
It reminds me of something from City of Lost Children or Delicatessen. Have you guys seen those movies?
No.
Watch them later. It's Genet and Caro. They're French. They
Okay.
made Amelie, which everyone thought was cute.
Okay.
Yeah, I love.
Oh, I sure did.
Wait, did you say Delicatessen?
Uh-huh.
I think that's on Netflix, right?
I think so.
I'm gonna watch it then. Yeah, I'll watch it.
Bioshock 1 just totally ripped it off. It's like Delicatessen, the movie, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, when they're in the sewer hanging around. Anyway, Aaron, do you have a favorite or favorites or just someone you like?
I think I like Mole Knight. I have a soft spot for Mole Knight because he's very adorable. Pause. Treasure Knight's good too, but Mole Knight is the underdog.
In battle
Did
mode.
you make up Mole Knight and then he came to the sprite artist, or was it something somebody else came up with and you had to illustrate him?
Well, I worked with Sean collaboratively in the beginning to make like really quick 5-second sketches. We said we're going to do the whole Order of No Quarter one night, and so we hammered it out, and then I just took those and refined it, so I'm not sure who truly created it from scratch, but I refined it and I brought him to life.
Yeah, typically I'll go from first sketch, then I'll take a crack at it and get the pixels done, and then he goes back to her for the illustration.
Right, yeah, so the pixel helps inform the final. But yeah, I mean, we did them on this whiteboard back here. We said, yeah, we're going to take, what was it, like an hour, like 90 minutes. We said we're going to draw out really crappy versions of all these guys, and just the first thing that comes to mind of what we would do. And those drawings are hilarious. Maybe we'll put them out at some point. But they're very different, or most of them are pretty different from what the finals ended up as. But it was just like, what are the raw ideas just to get the juices flowing?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
some of them are very different.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you had a lot of, I don't know, was it excitement that kind of overrode your self-consciousness or worry, and then you just ran with the idea, or was it like a real raw confidence that you can just make up all the bosses in a game in an hour? That's pretty incredible.
Well, it wasn't an hour. Like,
I mean, the process took forever, right? The spark of the idea took an hour. But,
yeah.
I mean,
we first came up with the names of the guys. Like, for a while it was like, okay, we want to have, we just want a big fat guy, and we also want a really tall skinny guy who's maybe he's an aerial, and it was like we had just like a giant list of maybe 30 or 40 names, and then we just kind of like squished it down eventually to get
right, and like the sizes of all the characters as they stand together is really important. Like the silhouette of the characters is really important. The colors of the characters is important. I mean, even the names. I feel like we messed up by having too many T and P names, right? But it's like you need to have like that variety there. It's true. I mean, we had Plague Knight, Propeller Knight, Polar Knight, and Tinker Knight and Treasure Knight.
Pirate Knight?
I mean, yeah, right. Oh, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's gonna be Pirate Knight.
Treasure Knight was Pirate Knight.
So I
But
mean,
Plague Knight's good too.
they're all-
There
that's
was
like-
some Mega Man game I got really mad at for having too many T names. I can't remember which one it was. I think it might have been the one with who's that little train guy?
Charge
Remember him?
Man.
Yeah, was that one? Did that have too many C names? It was Crystal Man, Charge Man, and also
Crystal Man, Charge Man, Stone Man, the Gyro Man,
Wave Man.
Wave Man.
No, I think that one passes the test.
yeah.
Right, I guess.
But that's what you have to take into account, like when you're making all these characters. It's like even if there's one guy that stands really well on his own, as a part of the whole, maybe it doesn't fit in quite so well.
Yeah, like we have maybe we have a second really tall skinny guy, and we compare him to Propeller Knight, and it's like, well, I mean, like we have Propeller Knight already. We have the tall skinny guy who has angular features. Like, should we do another one? And it's like, no, we should just get rid of that one, even if it's great. But we save it for some night too.
Sure. Yeah, you've got a long life ahead of you. Hopefully. You guys don't die. I'll be really mad. Shovel Knight gets canceled because they dead. That'd make me really, really mad. Before I forget, there's so many more questions coming in. I don't want to abandon them.
Okay,
We talked about Mega Man.
Wait, did we freeze?
Oh no, we didn't lose you, did we?
No, go get it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Do you
Frozen.
see-
Hang on, guys. That's
Oh, wait.
Holmes.
I can
That's
hear
Holmes
you.
now. It's Holmes' turn.
No. Oh, is it Jonathan?
We lost him.
His cat sat on the
He
internet.
left us. He left us.
So now we can talk about
I can-
Jonathan, and he won't
I can
hear it.
ask some of these questions. Do you remember what was asked last? I actually stepped out of the room for a second.
Oh, the last question was, what was our favorite
Okay.
knight or enemy? Or...
So, Reticule asks, is there a story explanation to why Shovel Knight chose to use a shovel as his weapon? Is there something special about the shovel?
Sinistar took over, but I had momentary computer problems. Good gravy. That's creepy. But I'm sorry.
Dead air.
That's why isn't Sinistar hosting the whole thing? What was it like to create Shovel Knight Newman?
Beware, asshole.
All right, so why answer the question, and maybe we can keep him in here.
Well, there's not really a story explanation
I'm
for the
so sorry.
shovel.
I didn't mean it.
We're sorry, Jonathan.
He was so awful to us.
We're glad to have you back. Are you back? You're mute. Oh, man.
Oh, now he's muted. Shit. All right. Come on, Holmes. You can fix this.
Yeah, we can answer a question if you so decide.
Yeah. So answer the question.
The shovel.
Oh, with the shovel, right.
So, like, it didn't start out as a story conceit. It was really about the mechanics of it. We started thinking about, like, can we make a game around the Zelda 2 down thrust? Can we figure out a way to, like, get that character to flip guys over and then stab them in the belly? Can we dig through blocks?
Right, it was built around the mechanics. Stabbing downward, flipping things, breaking blocks, breaking dirt, breaking blocks below you, digging things. Okay, we're digging. Yeah, this is a shovel, so maybe, so it's a shovel. We need to have a shovel knight, right? Like a shoveling knight. Shovel knight, the shoveling knight. That's
it originally was like plummeting knight or something.
Yeah, plummet knight. It's like, dude, don't call him shovel knight. That's stupid. Call him something else.
We laughed and it was shovel knight.
Yeah, then it stuck. So, that's where shovel knight came from.
But we imagine he became a shovel knight himself, like he chose the shovel.
Oh yeah, like that's his choice.
And I feel like we should explain that a lot better in the game, or maybe it's like I want to have an official explanation for how it happened, but maybe that's something.
I want like 3 explanations.
Yeah, we don't know.
So it's like somebody like who played the game did this, and someone like followed like I don't know, a blog or whatever.
Yeah, we'll make a comic, or like in Shovel Knight the comic, it'll be one way, and Shovel Knight the animated series, it'll be another way. Hey,
I think I'm a guy again. Am I a guy? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're totally.
Oh, phew. My questions disappeared, so I can't ask them right now. Maybe Sinstar will ask them, or I'll get to ask them later. But I wanted to ask what your least favorite Mega Man game is, because that's something that's very important. It defines you much more than what your most
include X games.
Yeah, in the classic series, or like
in the classic series, 1 through I don't know. Let's just do NES, 1 through 6.
Okay.
What's your least favorite?
I already know mine. You guys can go first, though, if you have one.
I think that, I don't know, my worst experience, I guess, would be 4. Just don't like that last boss. It's like a little bit random, but yeah.
Forgot about the last boss. That is by far my least favorite.
That just takes the rest of them, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think 4 is the weakest. Yeah. And I think one of the reasons is because they integrated that charge shot, right? That was the first game to have the charge shot. And so it turned it into like you have to hold the button the entire time, and you have to hear that like constantly. It's always dropping out one of the sound channels of the music. And then worst of all, if you're not charging the gun, like because everything can do so much more damage, everything became a damage sponge.
Yeah.
So you have to hit that snail with the eyes and Toadman. You have to hit that guy 100 times. So you're just like
there's a lot of weird level design stuff too. I mean, there's like Ian's preparing to play 4 for Wednesday night, and he was describing how there's a scene in I think it's Toadman stage where it's like there's a scene transition where you jump over something and then the screen goes brrr, and it just puts you in spikes.
No, it's dive.
It's diving.
You're in water. Yeah, you're in water and you jump up and go over, and it transitions you over over.
It's just and you just. It's like they tried, and that's what they started like doing branching stuff. I feel like they did the trilogy and then like kind of figured that out, and then it was like, okay, let's do something weird. And it didn't totally gel until the next couple of games started to really pick up on it.
The bosses, I think, are also, like, many of them, it's more about them hitting you or, like, running at you than it is about, like, having interesting patterns or weapons that you're having to deal with. Like Pharaoh Man, right? Pharaoh Man's always hitting you. Ring Man, it's like he just does that thing where he, like, juts around and you just get hit by him. Same thing with Skull Man, right? Who just has that shield. Yeah, and Dive Man is the same thing. He just runs into you. And Drill Man, for that matter. Mega Man 4.
This is so validating. I've been saying for years, oh, Mega Man 4, what happened? And a lot of people say, oh no, Mega Man 4 is good. It reminds me of Mega Man 2 a little bit, and I like that one. It's Mega Man 5 that sucks. I'm like, no way!
Yeah.
Gravity Man?
You're right. Yeah, Gravity.
Star
Yeah.
Man? These are good bosses, and you just randomly get that...
Good stages, too.
Yeah, the stages are really good, and that weird power-up you get, I think, from Starman that just makes you be able to ride on a pole. You guys remember that?
Wait, in for 4 or for 5?
5, I think.
Oh, yeah, the S arrow. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just on it.
Oh, the pull, yeah.
It's like item 2.
It's like item 2, but like way more aggressive.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. It's a good one, that Mega Man 5. Wish more people liked it. Anyway, back to the real questions. Sorry about that. Screaming for Vengeance 88 asks, for Erin specifically, how did you get started working in art and animation in the video game industry? And do you think age is an issue in getting your foot in the door? I'll be 28 when I graduate from animation. Also, Sean, I really enjoyed the hell out of Blood Rain Betrayal and want to send my gooey, warm appreciation towards it.
that's
The rare Blood Rain fans.
Well, a lot of people like that Blood Rain, I think.
I hope so.
I
I like
think
it.
so.
I really like it.
Yeah, indeed. But Erin, if you don't mind, what do you think of that? How'd you get started in the thing? And do you think age is an issue? 28, is that too old, too young, just right?
I think you can be at any age if you have the knack. I mean, I started watching Disney stuff and cartoons when I was a kid, so obviously I drew stuff since I was young, but then I went to college and I took classes that I was really interested in. I took some character design classes, I joined some clubs, and I participated. I joined the video game club. Then I started working with Way Forward people, people who graduated and went to Way Forward. So then I started working at Way Forward too with an internship and and then I worked hard. I drew whenever I was interested, and I drew a wide variety of stuff. And I was genuinely enthusiastic about things that I drew. I really cared about what I did, and I think most people can have that. And if they work hard, they can find themselves in a good group as long as they all click together.
Mm-hmm. So age isn't an issue, it's just a matter of working at it, and it sounds like just having a passion and enjoying it, genuinely.
If you find the right group, then you work together, I think you can make great stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
you find people that compliment you and will critique you and grow you, and you find your place in the group. That's how you work best.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you see a lot of people that you feel like the idea of getting in the industry, want to kind of take their love of how video games make them feel and turn it into a full-time job without knowing about how difficult it can be, or really knowing what it would be to work on games? They just kind of want to have that dream without knowing about the reality of it. Is that something you see a good amount of?
Oh, it's extremely difficult to be a concept artist and to get consistent work, if you don't put more stuff out and you don't really push what you can do, or show that you are that you have different styles, that you have ideas that anyone could use.
Yeah, so to be versatile and to be able to meet the client's needs is a big deal. I think a lot of people dream that it's just drawing whatever you want all the time and you get paid, and that's it's just not that easy a lot of the time.
Like we've worked with a lot of outside sources for concept stuff in the past. We had Genzo Man, who's famous for a lot of his Street Fighter,
and World of Warcraft.
And World of Warcraft art. Yeah, we worked with him, and it was what was really cool about working with someone who's done it for a long time is that you kind of approach them with their own style, and you know what they're going to be doing. And so when we asked them to had him to do concept art for Double Dragon Neon, he right away brought his own style and his own sensibilities to it, and that was that matched with us. So you don't have to be necessarily in all styles. You can maybe find your own niche, but getting your name out there. He does drawings constantly and all the time. He's always making new art. You look at his DeviantArt page, and it's incredibly thick with just a lot of art, and that it's not anywhere close to all of his art because he doesn't have a lot of the stuff he even did for us. So on top of what Aaron was saying, yeah, like you got to be putting yourself out there and being versatile. You just got to be the biggest thing that we've valued in a outside source for concept art, for any art really, is consistency and the ability to perform and follow through on their promises.
Right.
Yeah, just being reliable and being someone you can work with and count on, because this is, you can't just get this done when you feel like it. You have to meet deadlines
Yeah,
and
wait to be
responsible.
inspired to make a character.
And
Like, you can't say, I'm just not inspired today.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not doing anything.
it's like we're all barreling forward on this game. So when you're an artist, or when you're a programmer, or when you're a designer, it's like you are the sum of the parts is what the most important thing is. And I mean, that's what's exciting for me about being able to share more of the development team, with you and with everyone. It's just like, because these games are made by teams of people. You hear a lot about this is the auteur director, and it's like, Kojima is Metal Gear, and Dude Huge is Epic and Unreal, and but those people are behind huge teams that are really making a ton of creative and technical and artistic contributions. And they're every bit as important, in my opinion, as the ones that you see in the headlines. So
Absolutely. I don't know if we've talked about U2 before, but U2 refuses to. If the drummer ever quit, they'd break up.
right.
They'd be like, we can't write the right songs without drummer guy in the background,
Yeah,
making
totally
the right eye contact and just giving us the right feeling. And you guys are. No one at Yacht Club seems like the drummer guy anyway. It sounds like you guys are all Kobanos.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we share all of our input on all the design decisions. We all have our own opinions on everything. Like, even when we're doing a lot of like biz dev stuff right now. It's just like setting up what our business is, and we all have say in like what matters to us, and as we form the company, and like we all go down to the office to go see what our space is going to be like as we rent it. Like, everything matters to us because the game and the company are a result of the people that make it.
Right, like Shovel Knight came from this group specifically, right? Like, if there was one other person, or if one person wasn't there, then it would have made everything way different. And I mean, that can be a great thing, right? As like perhaps Yacht Club will continue to grow and will bring on, let's say 5 more people. So it's like there's right, like we're double the size that we are now, basically.
We have no idea what that game could look like from that team.
Well, right, exactly. So that's why I think you have to make sure that everyone that you bring in has a very, you have to set up the tone of the company, and you have to set up your brand and exactly what it is that you do. So that way you're attracting the correct people to you, and you're making the right environment for you to work in. And it's like, it goes far beyond Shovel Knight. It's like Shovel Knight is like the fruit that grows from the foundation that is the company and the people.
So I guess back to the artist question was like, how do I break into it? Surround yourself with people that work with you.
Right.
Get yourself, even digitally online. Like, you can put yourself on critique boards. Maybe set up a Google Hangout where you guys talk about each other's work live. I've heard a lot of ideas that have been brought up where, because everything is so connected, people don't realize how valuable that is. And so you can actually learn a lot from showing your art to somebody. Like, hey, what do you think about this? And then they look at it and like, no, it's terrible. And you say, okay, well, why? And then you grow and you sharpen each other.
Yeah, it's video games can be an introverted, solitary experience, but the creation of them doesn't seem to work as well if you're in a team to take that attitude. But if you can get over whatever anxieties you might have about connecting with people and find a team, the amount of energy you can generate from each other is astounding. And you can get over whatever humps you might have in terms of inspiration just by having somebody you like talking to you about what you're doing. It can make such a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what...
It's like polygamy, kind of. You guys have to create a group wife situation. Like Big Love. I'm thinking of Big Love while you were talking. And all the wives are kind of... they vote on things, the wives? I'm sorry.
No, that's fun.
No, it's a little...
Sometimes I feel like a sister.
I mean, at this point, it's like we are all like roommates. We're always together all the time. Especially now, I mean, because we're trying to develop Shovel Knight at the same time that we're trying to get the business set up. So we're working around the clock, and we're just around each other all the time. So yeah, you have to make sure that your communication is really open, so you don't kill each other, and you got to make sure that you have a really great level of trust, and that you're around people that are really good and that you really like.
Sounds like a rare thing you've got, and an awesome thing. I want it to last forever, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Xanadu asks, will the final Wily Castle-esque stage be on a yacht?
No.
Is there going to be a yacht in the game at all, you think?
There's a water ship submarine.
Yeah, there's like a submarine. It's called the Bronze Whale.
I guess it could be a yacht.
Sort of.
It's not a yacht.
No, I mean, because it would be classified as a yacht.
And what I'm saying is I don't think it would be classified as a yacht. There's no yachts in the game, except maybe if our logo in the beginning will have a yacht at the top.
Well, that it takes me to the name of Yacht Club and what I took from it. I'll ask you about it in a second, but first I'll let you know. I don't know if you've gotten a lot of feedback on it. Have a lot of people talked to you about the Yacht Club games?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Because for me, it hit hard right away. I was late at night. I read the email from Sean. I think I quickly wrote a post half asleep. It was at midnight or something. I got the email, and for me, Rockstar games used to be kind of the cool next level of video games for people, going back to what I was saying earlier in the show, because they were breaking all these boundaries and having sex and violence and nudity and terribleness and stuff that hadn't been in video games before. That was what was cool. That's what people saw as kind of the higher level social status to be in video games. We're not nerds anymore, we're rock stars. Whereas Yacht Club, I was like, this is the level beyond Rockstar. We're not trying so hard to impress people with how edgy we are. We're just sitting around on a yacht. We've got beach chairs out, and we're having fun, and we're enjoying each other's company, and there's no pressure, and we've not got nothing to worry about, and we're just going to see what comes out of that. So to me, it was like Rockstar 2, the Yacht Club.
Right. I really like that take on it.
Yeah,
that's not exactly what we were going for, but I almost feel like we should change it to be that. It's like, with the Yacht Club, we thought, okay, Yacht Club Games, it's hoity-toity, and it's money grubbing, and it's arrogant, and it's all these things that are really like the opposite of what we are. Just in general, right? I feel like we're very we're more down to earth. Like we really just want to make great games. We don't want to fleece people, or we don't want to do anything that seems like evil. We're not the Yacht Club, so therefore we are the Yacht Club.
It's like the world's
Yacht
most
Club.
inclusive yacht club.
Right? Yeah, everyone can be on the Yacht Club.
Yeah. That was my take.
Yeah, it's like playful arrogance.
Yeah, you can't really say we're the most humble company ever and have that be the name of your company.
Right?
So.
But it'd be like super humble enterprises. The best company
for
ever.
the people.
Right.
Did that Yacht Club stretch goal or Kickstarter reward ever happen? What happened with that?
No, nobody wanted to ride with us on a yacht.
Oh, yacht party was not going to happen.
But
Or the sleepover. Nobody wanted to come and sleep at our
come on. Yeah, you don't want to come sleep on the floor here and just hang out with us?
There were sleeping bags and everything.
We could stream Zelda 2, we could
share scary stories.
I was worried for you guys when I read those. I actually thought, please no one pledge those, because then they're going to have to rent a yacht, and that's going to be very expensive. Or just some dudes are going to be in there with them. And you never know what the dudes will do. I've seen them do things to me.
You were afraid you were going to die.
Tried to. Yeah, so I was relieved.
I don't know. For our physical safety.
Well, I still want to rent a yacht. I feel like if Shovel Knight has any degree of success, it's not actually that expensive to rent a yacht and have maybe 50 people go out on it and do a crazy party, right? That would definitely be within the budget for a wrap party for a successful game. So maybe one day in the future we can get on that yacht.
Jake said he wants to do a live.
Yeah, he'll do a live show on the yacht,
which is crazy.
Jake's gonna do a show on the yacht.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
Whoa. I would have to go to that. I will be mad at myself if you do that.
Definitely.
Missed out. 'Cause I didn't pledge 5,000. Was that for $5,000?
Yeah, that was for
Yeah.
5. That was it. Would have covered the cost of the yacht. Yeah.
For sure.
But not much more.
Yeah.
And I meant to. We're almost out of time. Jeez, that went fast.
Man, it goes so fast.
Yeah, it does. It's fun hanging out with you guys. I wanted to mention the latest Shovel Knight news that I read was that Shovel Knight is in this game Sea Wars, which came as kind of a surprise. How did that come about?
Well, we were talking to them. They contacted us through Kickstarter. They were talking about our game, but we had actually just looked at their game, a couple days before.
Like, oh hey, this looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
and then we get an email. Like that's happened so many times recently. It's just it's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool just being a part of that community and seeing how it's growing. So yeah, they contacted us. They said, hey, we like Shovel Knight a lot. It'd be cool if they originally wanted to do a weapon. And were like, hey, let's put Shovel Knight in the game.
Yeah, that's just a weapon.
It could be a totally
knight
captain.
there. Come on.
Yeah, and so they dug it. They got really excited. They did the spray for it and stuff. And so yeah, that's a collaboration that's born of mutual love.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, we want to do stuff like that. I think it would be cool to have Shovel Knight in cool games and in cool places, cross media collaborations. Just sound like a lot of fun, right? And that's what this new weird indie world is. It's like everyone's got their hands in everything else, and it's all just kind of like one big incestuous Kickstarter indie family. Yeah, man, this Sub Homes is taking such a weird turn right now.
Not as weird as some of the other ones have. Jeez, last week, what happened? I can't even. Ugh. Anyway, and tell me, what's the one message? We're almost out of time. Do you have one message you want people who aspire to reach what you've got? How do they go about it? How should they look at their time? How should they look at their social experiences? How should they look at their work? Teach them how to be you in just a few minutes.
I guess just be passionate, right? Be true to yourself. The reason that we're making this game and the reason that we made this company is because this is the purest expression of who we are. I feel like if I'd grown up playing outside, then I would be doing something totally different, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully whatever I was doing there would be just as forceful as this.
Yeah, just be genuine, be yourself, and make sure that that comes across in the work that you're doing. Anything that feels fake to you as you're making it is going to feel fake when somebody plays it. So, just be yourself.
Treat every project that you're doing as a custom project, a custom fit.
Right.
Everything's different.
Don't get too attached to what you're making right away. I think a lot of indie devs, they have their whole life is based around this one game, And I think part of our experience working in the industry for so long is that we know that there are more games beyond the game that you're currently working on. So don't toil for 4 years or 5 years on a game that's not going to be a super big long experience. Just put it out there and then make a new one because it's going to be better. Don't be afraid to just put it out there and iterate.
Yeah. And save multiplayer for later. Multiplayer is the one thing that people jump into, and it becomes this big mess because it's way more complicated than you think, especially online multiplayer. Just save those to your 10th or whatever game.
Right, don't do an MMO your first game, right?
Unless you hating yourself.
But just I don't know, hook up with people like you. Just get excited about what you're doing, and just be genuine and I don't know. Hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully it'll go good. If there could be more
enjoying the process, knowing that the time you put into it will be rewarded. Because time's going to pass no matter what. We're all just we're moving towards not being alive. Let's face it. That's where we're headed. So you can spend that hour just letting time give you nothing back, or you can put stuff into it to get something out of that time. Right. And get good at a thing, and meet a person, and make a stuff, and take a risk, and live a life.
It's a fraction of your life. It should be a reflection of who you are.
It's part of your life. I feel like every time, in Princess Bride, I say this all the time, in the Princess Bride when they pull that machine and he uses or he loses a year of his life, in that, it's I feel like every game, it's you just go, pick a big one, and it's the year of your life disappears. But it's well, was it worth it?
It's a nice trade-off.
Was it worth it? And I guess if I could say yes to all of those, then that's that's happiness.
It's a life well lived.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, you won't know until you try, and you guys are, man, it was a huge risk you took, and you're trying, and I'm so happy. Legit. Oh, man, you can't say I'm so happy without sounding ingenuine, I just found out. But I really do mean it. I'm really excited that you guys are doing so good, and hopefully we'll just never stop.
Thank you. Yeah, that's our plan. That's what we want to do. We want to just make great stuff forever.
We just want to make you happy, Jonathan.
Thank you. So far, so good. Show's over, rats. So they can follow you at Yacht Club Games on Twitter.
Yep. Yeah.
Shovel Knight Kickstarter is still. Are you guys still?
No, the Kickstarter's it's not really going anymore. What we plan on doing is we're gonna have a website where we can transition all the Kickstarter information, because we're not allowed to update that page, that front page. Once the Kickstarter is over, it's locked. So we're gonna mirror all that information and have really cool site, but that's not all up and running yet.
Yeah,
so
the best thing to do is just follow us on Twitter. Go to our Facebook, facebook.com/Yacht Club Games. If you specifically want to just find out about pixels and stuff, I am at Norkwoz, NORKWOZ, and then we do
Twitch TV streams all the time. And so we've been doing Mega May. Woz has been doing pixel animation. Erin might do some illustration, and heck, I might even go in there and be clicking around level design and just talking back and forth while we're making the game. So basically, we'll be streaming that stuff on our Twitch TV, and that's going to be Twitch TV/Yacht Club Games.
That's a lot of fun. You get a really good taste of the small community that's already growing there, and you get a good feeling of what it's like to make a game.
Yeah. So just get in and come hang out with us, and it's like this all the time.
Yeah, I know. You guys are live stream veterans now, and you did so good. Thank you for being on the show. You can follow me at Tronauts on Twitter. You can check out reruns of the show on iTunes. Just look up Sup Holmes, iTunes, and Google search. And Dtoid TV has all the reruns on YouTube, so look up Dtoid TV's YouTube channel. And I think that's it. Thank you so much, everybody. What a surprise. You all showed up and were so great. Okay, take care. Bye.
Thanks, Holmes. Anytime.